For one driver, or I guess one owner, they will walk away $1 million richer, but there is a much bigger prize at stake. A prize to name yourself among the legends of drivers who have won on the most hallowed ground in motorsports. For more than a century, this track has been a staple of Americana, and for 30 years, it has been a crown jewel for the NASCAR Cup Series. This is more than just a race. This is Indy. MDK RaceDay presents Race 22 of the 2025 NASCAR season. It's the 29th running of the Brickyard 400 presented by PPG from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in Speedway, Indiana. It is going to be blistering hot, but with few scattered thunderstorms. About temperature going to be in the mid 80s, but it will feel like it will be in the 90s. So make sure people that are going out to the racetrack stay hydrated, stay cool. 45% chance of rain, but more than likely we will not have any threat of rain around the Speedway racetrack during race day. Southwest wind of 8 miles an hour through the racetrack. Wind gusts can get up to as high as 20 miles an hour. It's going to look a bit spotty, but we should be all set and go to go racing here at Indianapolis. Welcome everyone back to episode of MDK RaceDay. My name is Jet. Hope you're having a wonderful day. A lot of things to talk about. Final race of the in-season challenge. Which tie will get it done? And of course, we have the crown jewel, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, but we also got 5 races to go in the NASCAR regular season. And the NASCAR top 10 for the regular season championship is heating up. With Chase Elliott's strong performance at Dover and William Byron once again falling back a bit behind, Chase Elliott is now the new points leader, passing his teammate William Byron to now have a 16-point gap ahead of the Daytona 500 champion, with Larson staying in third, minus 38. Denny Hamlin stays in 4th, jumps up a spot, I should say, minus 39. Tyler Reddick falls to 5th, minus 62, falls out of that 61-point threshold. So only Elliott, Byron, Larson, or Hamlin can leave Indianapolis as the points leader. Christopher Bell behind Reddick in 6th. Blaney and Briscoe remain 7th and 8th, as well as Alex Bowman, who jumps up 2 spots to take over the 9th position back inside the NASCAR top 10, minus 155, with Chris Buescher round out the top 10 at minus 174. However, as we take a look at the playoff grid, things are getting a bit interesting there. Reddick now has a plus 156-point gap, gained I believe about 10 points above the cut line. Alex Bowman, he's now above that 61 race threshold, so he is safe for at least one race at plus 63. Buescher and Wallace, also with strong runs, open up their gaps on the cut line, 44 for Buescher and 16 for Wallace. Busch is now minus 39 below the cut line, AJ Allmendinger minus 52, and Michael McDowell back in the top 20, now minus 77. Busch, the official beer of NASCAR, proud sponsor of the Busch Light Polo Award, given to the fastest driver at each NASCAR Cup Series event. Busch Light congratulates Chase Briscoe for his 7th career Cup Series pole and his 166th start. It is his first pole for the Indiana native here at this racetrack and the 5th pole of his 2025 campaign. He has also won the pole so far in all 3 of NASCAR's crown jewel races this year: the Daytona 500, Cup 600, and now the Brickyard 400. He won pole with a speed of 183.165 miles an hour. Since 2020, Busch Beer has invested more than $50 million in being a premier sponsor of the NASCAR Cup Series. So here's a look at the starting lineup for the 29th running of the Brickyard 400. It's an all-Toyota top 5 alongside Chase Briscoe, beating out Bubba Wallace by about 10/1000ths of a second, just barely. Bubba Wallace sits on the outside front row. Look at this row too. Eric Jones, a 2-time Southern 500 winner with Legacy Motor Club, 3rd position. Excellent start for him. Alongside him is Tyler Reddick. Ty Gibbs, the highest so far the in-season challenge, ahead of Ty Dillon. He's got one box checked off the list, sitting alongside William Byron, the Daytona 500 champion. Chris Buescher and Carson Hocevar, great qualifying effort for him, make up row 4. Look at row 5, AJ Allmendinger in the 16 ride. He has had some good strong runs at Indianapolis in an open wheel car in an IndyCar series, and Austin Cindric in the 2 ride. Look at this row 6, Shane Van Gisbergen. How about him on an oval, or I should say a round wreck triangle, or round wreck I should say. 11th position, absolutely incredible qualifying run for him, starting alongside former Brickyard 400 winner Kyle Busch in the 8 ride. The defending Brickyard 400 champion and Kyle Larson starting alongside the 2012 Cup Series champion and Brad Keselowski in the 6th ride, also had a very strong car here last year. Row 8 has a former Cup champion in Joey Logano and Christopher Bell in the 20 ride. Row 9 has Josh Berry representing new colors with PPG on the hood, alongside Noah Gragson in the 4 car, with 34 driver Todd Gillen on the inside and Austin Dillon in the number 3 car, rounding out the top 20 on the outside. Row 11 has 48 Hendrick driver Alex Bowman starting alongside Michael McDowell in the 71 ride. Row 12 is a 4 duo of Ryan Preece and Ryan Blaney. Row 13 has rookie Riley Herb starting alongside the other Ty in the in-season challenge in Ty Dillon, trying to continue on the Cinderella story to $1 million. Row 14, Zane Smith and Justin Haley. Round of the top 30 is Cole Custer and Chase Elliott in the 9. Row 16, Daniel Suarez alongside Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Suarez's teammate Ross Chastain starting alongside Cody Ware. Jesse Love makes his return to the NASCAR Cup Series starting alongside John Hunter Nemechek, Josh Bilicki, and Catherine Legg. Row 19, and starting at the rear in a backup car is Denny Hamlin. The reason why is what happened yesterday. Coming off of turn number 2, Hamlin had about a 2.5 or maybe 3.5 10-second of a gap over Chase Briscoe, was on position for provisional pole, but lost it, slapped the wall in turn 2, and then crashed hard into the inside wall, totaling his car. Day over. That has definitely hurt Denny Hamlin's chances of becoming only the 5th driver in the history of NASCAR to win all 4 Crown Jewel races. This is the only one he still has not checked off his bucket list. Let's take a look at the odds to win the Brickyard 400 presented by DraftKings. Kyle Larson, no surprise, the defending race winner, sitting at the best odds at plus 500, but tied with his teammate William Byron. Pole sitter Chase Briscoe sitting at 700. Hamlin was actually the opening of the best odds, but because of his crash, he's now fallen down to the 4th best at 750. Ryan Blaney right behind at 800. Also had a very strong car here last year. Plus 1,000 for Tyler Reddick, fellow Toyota driver Christopher Bell at 1,200 alongside Chris Buescher, with Elliott and Wallace both sitting at 1,400 apiece. Mike Keselowski and Ty Gibbs both sitting at 1,800, 2,500 for Carson. Host of are some big names with big odds. Busch and Logano, former Cup champions, at 2,800 alongside Austin Cindric. Eric Jones and Alex Bowman at 3,500, Josh Berry at 6,500, and Ross Chastain at 7,000. And now it's time for you to make the call. What is it? Pretty self-explanatory, but very simple. Make a post on my YouTube discussion page and allow you, the fans, to make any opinion, anything you want to talk about. What do you think is going to happen? You think it's going to crash? Whatever you think is going to happen, let me know in that discussion post. We got 4 we're going to talk about. The first one, Angry Wally 4087. He says Brad Keselowski wins his second Brickyard 400 for the first time for RFK Racing, like he did in 2018 for Roger Penske, and he will win this race without running out of fuel. He could have won that race if the caution for Kyle Busch didn't come out, and Ty Dillon will win the in-season challenge. Yeah, that is true. I mean, yes, we do have to mention the fact that last year Brad Keselowski was probably in prime position, led a good amount of laps, was in prime position to win if he did not run out of fuel coming to the start finish line. That created a whole bunch of controversy in its own way. But definitely, I feel like that 6 car, they brought some speed this weekend. Definitely think there's a good chance that we could see Brad Keselowski at the very least be in contention to have a shot at taking home his second Brickyard 400 win. And yeah, as for the ties with the in-season challenge, I'm gonna roll with the Cinderella story. I like Ty Dillon. I'm gonna roll with him. I want to see him get that $1 million, I guess colleague gets $1 million, but we'll love to see that 10 team have some good things happen to them, especially with Ty Dillon and with his career. Nice to see something good happen. I mean, to be fair, he is a former winner at Indianapolis back in 2014 in the Xfinity Series, so he does have some success and running well here at this racetrack, but I would like to see Ty Dillon take home that $1 million. Next up is Joseph Leclerc's 16LH44F1. You got a long ass name, I gotta say that. But he says that Denny Hamlin from last to first and Ty Gibbs wins the season and the $1 million tomorrow. Obviously, he posted that yesterday, but yeah, Denny Hamlin, I mean, I will say this again, Denny had a flyer, was 2/3 on provisional pole over Chase Briscoe when he entered turn 2, so he was on a flyer. Just push it too hard. It was really fast in practice. We'll see how good that backup car is. Usually nowadays, in terms of the primary car and the backup car, they're very similar, but not exact. Never exact, but hopefully we could see that run from the back of the field from Denny Hamlin to be able to have a shot at becoming just the 5th driver in NASCAR history to win all 4 Crown Jewel races. Food City Cup Series says, I can't bet against him anymore. Ty Dillon wins the in-season challenge. My pick is William Byron as well, getting his 2nd Crown Jewel of the year. Yeah, I mean, the last year when he tried to win the Daytona 500 and the Brickyard 400 did not end so well, with him ending up in the inside wall. I believe the last driver to do that, to win Indy and Daytona in the same year, I believe was Jamie McMurray back in 2010, and I think before that was Jimmy Johnson in 2006. So it's very rare do we see, the driver to win the 500 and the 400 in the same year. I don't know. I don't see the speed out of that 24 car compared to maybe like his teammate Kyle Larson. I should say maybe the confidence that I have in a driver like Kyle Larson. I know he's starting in 6th place, but I also feel like in terms of Chevrolets as a whole, they may be behind the 8 ball a little bit heading into Indy today. And finally, Railroad Racer 49 says Larson goes back to victory lane and goes back-to-back at the Brickyard. Meanwhile, Ty Gibbs wins the in-season challenge by having a solid top 10 day. I feel like my heart is saying Ty Dillon, my mind is saying Ty Gibbs. Ty Gibbs, he is in a much better car. And he's starting in 5th compared to Ty Dillon, who is starting where? He's starting 26th. So Ty Gibbs has a lot less to work with than Ty Dillon, and I feel like with Indianapolis and with this car, track position will be stupidly important. So as long as that 54 team doesn't make any mistakes, I think logically speaking, you have to give the nod to Ty Gibbs. But yeah, in terms of storylines, what to watch out for is turn 2. If you saw practice and qualifying, there were so many drivers that were losing it, that were saying that turn 2 coming off for turn number 2 was very sketchy. Drivers were either losing it, having to let off the gas, slapping the wall, like tank slapping the wall. Kyle Busch hit the wall during his qualifying run. I believe also Chase Elliott, or at the very least lost a ton of ground during his qualifying run because of what happened turn 2. And of course, Denny Hamlin crashing off of turn number 2. So that will be a very, very, very sketchy spot, especially on restarts. We saw in the Xfinity Series, Justin Allgaier and Kyle Larson, them two side by side. It will get very, very intense coming off of turn number 2, especially on restarts, which will be very exciting and nerve-wracking to watch. But in terms of like drivers, you look at the storylines, obviously you look at Denny Hamlin, like I said, trying to get all 4 crown jewel races, becoming only the 5th driver to do so. You also got to look at drivers that are on the bubble. You look at Bubba Wallace. Bubba Wallace is not a bad option to, I think, can have a shot at winning this race. I think he has a great shot at winning this race. He has finished in the top 10 in all 3 Brickyard 400 starts, 2019, 2020, and last year. Has finished in the top 10 in all 3, has had 2 top 5s, I believe, in those 3 starts, and he won stage 2 last year. He's led some good amount of laps. He has a very good record here at the Brickyard, and starting in 2nd today, had a great qualifying run. I'm a bit worried about that practice lineup. He wasn't too good on the practice sheets, but he is starting up front, and clean air is key. If he can get that 23 car out in front, I think he will be very tough to beat. And on top of that, he is on the bubble, 16 points above the cut line. You also have to look at other drivers like Chris Buescher, who is right behind Bubba Wallace in the 7th position he's starting in. You look at drivers like AJ Allmendinger, who's starting behind Chris Buescher in the 9th position. Hocevar starting in 8th. A lot of key contenders. Hell, who knows? Eric Jones starting in 3rd place. And both him and Jonathan Nemechek are fast. I don't think it's a fluke. I really believe that the Legacy Motor Club cars, at the bare minimum, are fast. They got real pace. Both of them were near the top of the speed charts in the 5 and 10 lap averages, I believe. Yeah, they're not bad by any means. I mean, they are extremely, extremely critical, and I think that could flip this whole playoff picture. Eric Jones, I think, has a great chance. Nemechek, he's starting at the back, so I don't think the number 42 has a shot, but I mean, look at Eric Jones. I mean, he's got 2 wins. 2 of his, 3 or 4 career cup wins are at Darlington Racer, are the Southern 500. And one of them was with Legacy. Granted, it was with the Petty GMS affiliation, but still, the point remains the same that there are just some racetracks where, out of the blue, a driver with maybe very little experience at winning can somehow pull one out of their ass. Shouldn't say that they don't deserve it or anything, but it's drivers that you probably don't expect to win or be up front. All of a sudden, they're in the mix, and Eric Jones could be that guy and could flip the playoff picture completely. Lots of big names. And it shouldn't be the usual suspects like your Larsons, like your Blaney's, like your Keselowski's. I do think that the Fords and the Toyotas are going to bring in a lot of pace. I worry about the Chevrolets a little bit. They worried me a little bit on the practice charts in terms of how fast they were. Toyotas, they brought a ton of speed. Top 5 are all Toyotas. But I don't know. I'm a bit worried about them Chevy guys. Bit worried. I do think the Hendrick drivers, specifically Larson and maybe Byron, will put up a fight. But I do feel like this will be a race dominated by Toyota and Ford. Always take a look at my Fantasy Live lineup for Indianapolis. I mentioned a lot about Ford and Toyota bringing speed. It's reflecting that in the lineup. I got no Chevys in my lineup. I got starting off with Chase Briscoe. Then I got Tyler Reddick, Chris Buescher, Bubba Wallace, Brad Keselowski, and I got Eric Jones in my garage. I don't know. Something about that 43. They brought the speed they brought this weekend. He could help me a little bit in getting some very critical points. But the driver that I do have winning this race, I'm going to go with the pole sitter, Chase Briscoe. That 19 team has been clicking it in recent weeks. Nearly won at Dover last week. I almost said last year, but last week nearly won at Dover. Just barely losing it to Denny Hamlin. That 19 team has brought in a lot more speed. One of the races he did win this year was Pocono. One of the turns is Indianapolis, the tunnel turn. So it's like, hey, if you could just match turn 2 at the tunnel turn at Pocono and match that with all 4 corners at Indianapolis, you should be good to go. So I got Chase Briscoe winning this race. I think he will take home his second win. And as a Hoosier native, I think he will win the Brickyard 400. I think it will be a very interesting race. It's going to be a race all about pit strategy, all about track position. But who knows? It is a Brickyard 400 and anything can happen. I think it will get wild near the end of the race. But what are your thoughts on what do you think is going to happen? Let me know in the comment section down below. As always, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more content. Until next time, my name is Jet from MDK. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all next time.